The alarm screams echoed through the Kepler research station like a dying animal. Commander Velthra pressed her forearms against the control panel, her blue skin turning pale as the security feeds showed the nightmare unfolding. The containment fields were down. All three of them were loose. The Krathnai were free. Velthra watched in horror as the first creature tore through the medical bay. It moved like liquid death, its black chitinous armor reflecting the emergency lights. Dr. Horvash tried to run, but the Krathnai was faster, always faster. The screen went dark as the camera was destroyed. Section 4 breach, someone shouted behind her. They're in the residential quarters. Velthra's hands shook as she activated the emergency beacon. The message was simple. Kepler station under attack. Deathworlder containment failure. 3 Krathnai loose. Immediate evacuation assistance required. 47 souls on board. She sent it on all frequencies, all channels, praying someone would hear. Someone would come. The responses came quickly. Too quickly. Negative, Kepler. Quarantine protocols in effect. No ships available, said the Centauri Defense Fleet. Sorry, but engaging Deathworlders requires council authorization. Paperwork will take 6 weeks, replied the Galactic Collective. Our fleet calculates 70% casualties. We cannot justify the loss, stated the cold voice of the Vraxian Empire. One by one, every military force in the sector refused. Velthra understood. She really did. Deathworlders were classified as extinction-level threats. Krathnor, their home planet, had gravity twice the galactic standard, an atmosphere that could dissolve metal, and predators that hunted in packs across volcanic wastelands. The Krathnai themselves could survive in vacuum, tear through starship hulls with their claws, and moved faster than most species could track. Sending rescue ships would be suicide, but understanding did not stop the screaming in the corridors. Outside the command center, Velthra sealed the door and watched the monitors. 23 crew members were already dead. The Krathnai were hunting methodically, room by room, deck by deck. They had time. The station's life support would last for days. The creatures seemed to know this. They were not rushing. They were savoring. She pulled up the emergency shelter locations. 15 survivors had made it to the reinforced laboratory on Deck 3. 8 more were trapped in engineering. 5 in the cargo bay. The rest were scattered, hiding in maintenance shafts and storage lockers, hoping the monsters would pass them by. Hope was a dangerous thing in space. Velthra checked the communications array. Still functional barely. She sent the distress call again, and again, and again. 14 hours passed. The number of survivors dropped to 31. Then something impossible happened. A ship responded. Kepler Station, this is the cargo vessel Midnight Runner. We read your distress call. We're 8 hours out. Hold on. Velthra checked her translator. It had to be malfunctioning. Midnight Runner, be advised. This is a Deathworlder scenario. Class 7 hostile entities are loose on this station. Please confirm you understand the danger. We understand, Kepler. We're coming anyway. What species are you? Velthra asked, searching her database. No ship by that name was registered. We're human. From Earth. Never heard of us, huh? Yeah, we get that a lot. Just hang tight. Captain Reeves doesn't leave people behind. Velthra pulled up every database she had access to. Nothing. No species called human. No planet called Earth. Who were these aliens and why were they throwing their lives away? She watched the monitors. 27 survivors now. The Krathnai had found the group in engineering. 8 hours felt like 8 years. When the Midnight Runner finally appeared on sensors, Velthra stared at the screen in confusion. It was small, barely larger than a standard cargo hauler. The ship moved with strange precision, its docking approach faster and more aggressive than safety protocols allowed. The airlock connected with a violent clang. Velthra pulled up the airlock camera, desperate to see what kind of aliens were brave or stupid enough to answer a Deathworlder distress call. 6 figures stepped through the airlock. They walked on 2 legs, wore simple metallic suits, and carried equipment that looked primitive by galactic standards. One of them carried what appeared to be a large wrench. Another had a metal bar with a blade on one end. They were small compared to Krathnai, fragile-looking. Their movements were quick but controlled, not the cautious creeping of prey animals. The lead figure stopped and looked directly at the camera. The helmet visor was transparent, and Velthra saw the face of a human for the first time. Smooth skin, small features, two forward-facing eyes like a predator. The human smiled. Kepler Station, this is Captain Elena Reeves. We're aboard. Where are the survivors? And where are the big nasty bugs everyone's so scared of? Velthra's translator struggled with the casual tone. Big nasty bugs? These humans had no idea what they were dealing with. Captain Reeves, the hostile entities are extremely dangerous. They are apex predators from a Class 7 death world. Please proceed with extreme caution. The human laughed. Actually laughed. Class 7? Okay, noted. We'll be careful. Just tell us where to go. Velthra highlighted the survivor locations on their suit displays. 15 survivors in Laboratory 3 Alpha. 8 in the cargo bay. 4 scattered in maintenance areas. But Captain, the Krathni are between you and most of them. Then I guess we go through them, Captain Reeves said simply. Team 1, you're with me to the lab. Team 2, cargo bay. Team 3, sweep the maintenance areas. Stay in contact. Stay smart. And remember, we're the rescue, not the victims. The humans split up without hesitation, moving into the blood-stained corridors of the dying station. Velthra watched them go, her heart's pounding. She had just sent 6 aliens to their deaths. She was certain of it. Then she saw something on Monitor 7 that made her freeze. Team 3 had encountered their first Krathni, and the humans were not running. Velthra could not look away from the monitor. The Krathni filled the corridor, 3 meters of armored nightmare. Its compound eyes gleamed in the emergency lighting. The razor-sharp mandibles clicked together, a sound that usually preceded feeding. The 2 humans, designated Team 3, stood perfectly still. Marcus, you seeing this? The first human said. His voice was calm, almost curious. Oh yeah, Marcus replied. He was the one carrying the wrench. Looks like a mantis shrimp crossed with a bear. Beautiful, in a terrifying way. The Krathni lunged. It moved faster than Velthra's eyes could track. Claws extended, mandibles spread wide. The humans moved faster. Marcus dropped and rolled left. The other human jumped right, using the wall to push off in the low-gravity section. The Krathni's claws hit empty air. Before it could recover, Marcus swung the wrench into its leg joint. The sound of cracking chitin echoed through the speaker. The Krathni shrieked and spun. Its tail whipped around, a strike that should have cut Marcus in half. He ducked under it, surprisingly flexible for his build. Tessa, the overhead panel, Marcus called. The female human named Tessa was already moving. She pulled something from her belt, threw it at the ceiling panel above the Krathni. Sparks exploded. The panel tore free and a burst of atmosphere vented directly onto the creature. The Krathni staggered, confused by the sudden pressure change. Marcus struck again, this time targeting the same leg joint. Something broke. The creature stumbled. Maintenance shaft 3 meters behind you, Tessa said, her voice steady. They ran together, perfect coordination. The Krathni recovered and chased, but the humans were already through the shaft entrance. They sealed it behind them with some kind of welding tool. The Krathni slammed into the door. Once. Twice. Then it moved on, hunting for easier prey. Velthra realized she had stopped breathing. She forced air into her lungs. Team 3 to Captain, Marcus said over the comm. Encountered hostile. It's injured but mobile. Continuing to maintenance sections. Copy that, Captain Reeves replied. Team 1 has visual on the lab. We have survivors here. 18 people, not 15. Looks like some made it here after you sent the count. Velthra switched cameras. Team 1 had reached Laboratory 3 Alpha. Captain Reeves and her partner approached the sealed door carefully. Inside, Velthra could see the huddled survivors through the window. They looked terrified, not of the Krathni, of the humans. Hello in there, Captain Reeves said gently. We're here to get you out. Are any of you injured? Dr. Sylvan, a Centauri scientist, approached the door cautiously. You are human. The ones who answered our distress call? That's right. I'm Captain Elena Reeves. This is my second officer, James Park. We're going to evacuate you to our ship. But the Krathni, Dr. Sylvan whispered. They are between us and the docking port. We know, James said. He was checking something on a tablet device. We're mapping their patrol patterns. They're smart, but they're predictable. We can move you in groups of 6 through the service corridors. It'll take 3 trips. Velthra marveled at the humans' confidence. They had been on the station for less than 30 minutes and were already analyzing Deathworlder behavior patterns. She switched to Team 2. They had reached the cargo bay. The 8 survivors there included Security Chief Dranok, a massive Vraxian warrior who stood nearly 3 meters tall. Even he looked small next to the Krathnai that was stalking the cargo bay. The two humans, Chen and Rodriguez, stood at the entrance. They surveyed the situation in silence. "That's a big one," Chen said finally. "Alpha male, probably." Rodriguez agreed. "See the scars? That thing's been fighting its whole life." The Krathnai noticed them. It turned slowly, deliberately. This was not the quick predator from the corridor. This was something that knew it was dominant. It did not rush. It approached with absolute confidence. "Captain," Chen called, "we need you in the cargo bay." "This one's different." "On my way," Reeves replied. "James, start moving the first group. I'll handle the Alpha." Velthra watched as Captain Reeves ran through corridors that would make trained soldiers hesitate. She moved like she owned the station, like danger was just another problem to solve. She arrived at the cargo bay in 4 minutes. Chen and Rodriguez had been keeping the Alpha's attention, using cargo containers for cover, making noise, throwing objects. They were herding it away from the trapped survivors. Captain Reeves stepped into the bay. She was carrying something new, a red metal object with a long handle and a blade at the end. "A fire axe," she said, seeing Velthra's camera focus on it. "Old-fashioned but reliable." The Alpha Krathnai saw her and screamed. It was a sound designed to paralyze prey, to flood their systems with fear chemicals to make them freeze. Captain Reeves smiled. "Your turn." She launched herself at the creature in the low gravity, the axe raised. The Krathnai met her charge. They collided in midair. What followed was the most brutal thing Velthra had ever witnessed. The human and the Deathworlder fought in 3 dimensions, using the cargo bay's zero-gravity zones to push off walls and containers. The Krathnai's claws carved gouges in the metal around them. Captain Reeves dodged with impossible precision, her body twisting in ways that should not be possible. She was not trying to escape. She was studying it. Every attack revealed information. Every dodge taught her the creature's patterns. When the Krathnai tried the tail strike that had almost killed Marcus, Reeves was ready. She caught the tail, used it to swing herself onto the creature's back. The axe came down. Once, twice, 3 times. The Krathnai thrashed, but Captain Reeves held on. She was strong, far stronger than her frame suggested. The axe found a gap in the armor at the base of the skull. The Alpha Krathnai went limp. Captain Reeves pushed away from it, floating to the floor. She was breathing hard. Her suit was torn in 2 places, but she was alive. The trapped survivors stared in shock. Dranok, the Vraxian warrior, approached slowly. "You killed an Alpha Krathnai in single combat." "It was trying to kill you first," Reeves said simply. "Chen, Rodriguez, get these people to the ship. I'm going to help with the last groups." By the time all survivors were evacuated, 5 hours had passed. The humans had killed 2 Krathnai and trapped the 3rd in a decompressed section. Not one human casualty. Velthra sat in the command center, staring at the data on her screen. She had pulled the humans' ship registration, traced their navigation logs, found their homeworld's environmental profile. The translator kept glitching on one word. It appeared again and again. Deathworld Class 12. The maximum previously recorded was Class 7. Velthra looked at the monitors showing the humans helping survivors board their ship. They were laughing, sharing water, being gentle with the injured. "What are you?" she whispered to the screen. The Citadel station hung in space like a massive flower made of metal and light. It was the heart of the Galactic Collective, home to representatives from 300 civilized worlds. Today, every single one of them was watching the same video footage. Captain Elena, Reeves stood calmly at the center of the Grand Assembly Hall while alien beings 3 times her size whispered in fear. They killed 3 Krathnai, Ambassador Zorith said, his tentacles curling in distress. 3, with 6 individuals and primitive tools. "The footage has been analyzed," added Counselor Vextra, her crystalline body flickering. "Their reaction times are 40% faster than galactic average. Their strength-to-weight ratio is absurd, and they show no fear response to Deathworlder stimuli." Elena listened patiently. Her crew stood behind her. Marcus was trying not to laugh. Tessa kept her face neutral, but her eyes showed amusement. James was taking notes on a datapad, fascinated by the alien reactions. "If I may speak," Elena said politely. The hall went silent. "We appreciate the invitation to meet the Galactic Collective," We're honored, truly. But I'm confused about one thing. You keep calling the Krathnai Deathworlders like they're the most dangerous thing in the universe. Where we come from, they'd be considered large wildlife. Dangerous, yes, but manageable. The hall erupted in noise. Dozens of species talking at once, their translators creating a wall of sound. High Counselor Arndak raised his forearms for silence. He was old, older than most species lived. His voice was grave. Captain Reeves, perhaps you do not understand. Krathnor is classified as a Class 7 death world, the highest classification in our records. Life there survives conditions that would kill most galactic species in minutes. Marcus leaned forward and whispered to Elena. She nodded and stepped aside. My chief engineer has something to share. Marcus pulled up a hologram. A blue and green planet appeared, rotating slowly. This is Earth, he said. Our homeworld. The collective xenobiologist Dr. Hormal scanned the hologram. His 3 eyes widened. Then widened more. He made a sound like choking. Class 12, he whispered. By the ancestors, it's a Class 12 death world. The hall went absolutely silent. That cannot be correct, Counselor Vextra said. Your scanner must be malfunctioning. It's not, Elena said gently. Earth has gravity about 30% higher than your standard. Our atmosphere has oxygen concentrations that would be toxic to most of you. We have apex predators on every continent. Our weather includes storms that can level cities. The ground literally moves and breaks apart. Mountains explode. The temperature swings from boiling to freezing depending on location. And we have tiny organisms that wage biological warfare inside our bodies. She said it all like she was describing a pleasant vacation spot. How do you survive? Someone asked from the crowd. We adapt, James said. Humans are really good at adapting. It's kind of our thing. Tessa pulled up more images. We also keep some of Earth's apex predators as companions. These are dogs and cats. Dogs evolved from pack hunters called wolves. Cats are solo ambush predators. We domesticated them thousands of years ago. Most human households have at least one. The image showed a small human child hugging a large dog. The dog's teeth were clearly visible, sharp, designed for tearing meat. You let your offspring near predators? Counselor Vextra asked in horror. They protect our children, Elena explained. We bred them to be loyal to us. Their family. Dr. Hormal was scrolling through data frantically. Your recreational activities. Please explain skydiving. Oh, that's fun, Marcus said. You jump out of an aircraft at high altitude and freefall, before deploying a parachute to land safely. It's a rush. You jump out of perfectly functional aircraft for entertainment? Well, yeah. There's also cave diving, mountain climbing, deep-sea exploration, volcano watching, storm chasing. Stop, High Counselor Arndak said weakly. Please stop, Elena looked concerned. Are you all right, Counselor? Your species recreationally engages in activities that we classify as extreme hazard scenarios. For fun. You do this for fun. Life's too short to play it safe, Tessa said with a shrug. Dr. Hormal found something else in the data. Your endurance capabilities. This cannot be accurate. It says humans can run for hours without stopping, days even. Persistence hunting, James explained. Our ancestors would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We can't sprint as fast as many animals, but we can outlast almost anything. We just keep coming. That's how we became the dominant species on Earth. The collective representatives looked at each other. The prey species saw predators. The predator species saw something worse, competition. Your medical history, Dr. Hormal continued, his voice shaking. You survived multiple planetary plagues without advanced technology. Diseases that should have wiped out your species. But you developed natural immunity and kept going. Humans are really hard to kill, Marcus said cheerfully. We're like cockroaches. No offense to any cockroach-based species here. The political fracture happened almost immediately. Elena could see it forming. Some representatives edged away from the humans. Others leaned forward, interested. A few looked calculating. The next day, the Vraxian ambassador, Kriesh, requested a private meeting. Elena met him in a small conference room. Kriesh was impressive even by warrior species standards. Scales like armor, claws that could shred metal, eyes that had seen centuries of conquest. Captain Reeves, he said, his voice like grinding stone. My empire has been observing your species. We are interested in an arrangement. What kind of arrangement? We are expanding into new territories. We face resistance from protected worlds. Your species would be valuable as shock troops. As soldiers, we would pay well and provide advanced technology. Elena's expression did not change. And if we refuse? Kriash smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Then Earth becomes a threat we must neutralize. 300 dreadnoughts can glass a planet quite thoroughly. It would be unfortunate but necessary. I see, Elena said calmly. Give me 48 hours to consult with my government. Of course, we are not unreasonable. The meeting ended. Elena returned to the Midnight Runner with her crew. That went about as well as expected, Marcus said. He threatened Earth, Tessa said quietly. There was something dangerous in her voice. He actually threatened our home. Elena pulled up a secure communication channel. An admiral appeared on screen. Admiral Chen, no relation to their crew member Chen. He was old, decorated, and had the look of someone who had seen too much war. Captain Reeves, I saw your report. The Vraxians made their move? Yes, sir. They want us as mercenaries or they'll attack Earth. 300 dreadnoughts in this sector. Admiral Chen was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was the same smile Elena wore when facing the Krathni. Then we'll send 50 ships. Time to introduce ourselves properly to this galactic collective. Time to show them what a Deathworld species looks like when it goes to war. Sir, are you sure? These aliens have been doing this for thousands of years. Captain, we've been fighting each other for our entire history, on a planet that actively tried to kill us. These aliens have no idea what they're asking for. The transmission ended. Elena looked at her crew. We should warn them, James said. Give them a chance to back down. We will, Elena agreed. But I don't think they'll listen. They see us as primitives, as tools to be used or threats to be eliminated. Then they're about to learn, Marcus said quietly. What happens when you threaten a human's home? The Vraxian border fortress was called Drakhan. It had never fallen in 300 years of conflicts. Admiral Zorthak stood on his command deck watching the human fleet approach with amusement. 50 ships. They sent only 50 ships against his 300 dreadnoughts. Open a channel, he ordered. Let us accept their surrender with dignity. The largest human vessel appeared on screen. A woman in a simple uniform stared back at him. Admiral Chen, according to the identification tags. I am Admiral Zorthak of the Vraxian Imperial Fleet. You are outnumbered 6-1. I respect your courage in responding to our summons, but I must ask you to stand down. Admiral Chen's expression did not change. You threatened our world, Admiral. That was a mistake. I offered you employment. You chose war. This is regrettable, but we will show mercy to those who surrender now. No, Admiral Chen said simply. You don't understand. You don't get to threaten Earth and walk away. This ends today. The transmission cut, Zorthak laughed. Brave words from such a small fleet. All ships engage. Show them the price of defiance. The battle began, and Admiral Zorthak stopped laughing very quickly. The human ships moved wrong. They accelerated at speeds that should kill their crews. They performed maneuvers that violated every tactical doctrine. When Vraxian vessels fired, the human ships dodged with impossible precision. Their inertial dampeners must be incredible, his tactical officer said. Or they do not have any, Zorthak realized with horror. They are enduring the full force of those accelerations. A human destroyer took fire from 3 Vraxian cruisers. Its shields failed. Hull breaches appeared. Any reasonable crew would retreat. The human ship accelerated directly toward the nearest cruiser. They're ramming us, someone shouted. The destroyer hit the cruiser at full speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of superheated metal and plasma. But in the seconds before impact, Zorthak saw small pods launching from the human destroyer. Escape pods. They saved their crew and weaponized their ship. What kind of species does that? His tactical officer whispered. One that knows how to lose a ship but win a battle, Zorthak said grimly. All ships maintain distance. Do not let them close, but the humans were not cooperating. Their ships broke formation, each one moving independently. They targeted weapons arrays, engines, shield generators, precise strikes that disabled rather than destroyed. Then the boarding craft launched, small, fast-carrying teams of human soldiers directly to Vraxian ships. They breached hulls, cut through airlocks, and fought their way inside. Zorthak watched the reports flood in. Vraxian warriors, each one worth 3 normal soldiers, were losing corridor fights to humans. The humans used strange projectile weapons that punched through armor. They moved in small teams with perfect coordination. And they sang. They actually sang while fighting. One battle report included audio. A human voice, rough and deep, singing something about born to run. The sound of gunfire punctuated each verse. "They are insane," his tactical officer said. "No," Zorthak corrected. "They are not insane. They are in their element. Look at their casualty rates. They are absorbing losses that would break any other species, but they keep attacking. They accept death as a possibility and fight anyway. 3 days of space combat. The Vraxian fleet lost 40 ships. The human fleet lost 12. Zorthak gave the order to retreat to their fortress world, Vrax Prime. It was a volcanic hell world by collective standards, chosen specifically because it was hostile to most species. The heat, the toxic atmosphere, the unstable ground. It was a natural fortress. The humans followed. The ground war was worse than the space battle. Vraxian ground forces numbered 1 million soldiers. They had defensive positions, artillery, air support, and intimate knowledge of the terrain. The humans landed, 50,000 Marines, and they treated Vrax Prime like a pleasant camping trip. "The temperature is 60 degrees Celsius, the defensive coordinator reported. The humans are calling it warm. Some have removed their helmets to breathe the atmosphere directly." "How are they not dying?" Zorthak pulled up the environmental data on Earth. The planet had regions with similar temperatures. Deserts, they were called. Humans lived there. They built cities there. The human strategy was unlike anything the Vraxians had faced. They used combined arms warfare, infantry, armor, air support, and artillery working in perfect synchronization. They adapted instantly to Vraxian tactics, learning and countering in real time. But worse was the psychological warfare. Human soldiers would broadcast messages to Vraxian positions before attacking. Not threats, offers of surrender, promises of fair treatment, explanations of human rules of war. "We don't want to kill you," one human commander said in perfect Vraxian, "but we will if we have to. Please choose surrender. Choose life." Some Vraxian units did surrender. The humans kept their promises. Prisoners were treated well, given medical care, fed, then released to spread word of human mercy. It broke morale faster than any weapon. The units that fought received no mercy. Human soldiers were efficient, ruthless, and creative. They turned every Vraxian advantage into a weakness. Artillery positions were located and destroyed by long-range precision fire. Underground bunkers were collapsed by seismic charges. Air support was countered by human fighters that flew with reckless aggression. And still, the humans kept coming. Zorthak watched from his command center as the human advance reached the capital city's outskirts. 3 months. In 3 months, they had conquered a planet that was supposed to be unconquerable. He reviewed footage of human soldiers. They looked tired. Many were wounded. But they were still singing, still joking with each other, still treating Vraxian prisoners with respect. One video showed a human medic treating a wounded Vraxian soldier. The Vraxian had tried to kill him minutes before. "Why?" the Vraxian asked in broken English. "Why help enemy?" The human medic looked up. "Because the fighting's over for you. You're not my enemy anymore. You're just hurt, and I'm a doctor. I help people who are hurt." Zorthak finally understood. Humans were not conquerors. They were not trying to destroy the Vraxian Empire. They were teaching a lesson. He opened a channel to the human fleet. Admiral Chen appeared on screen. She looked as calm as she had 3 months ago. "Admiral," Zorthak said, "I wish to discuss terms of surrender. I'm listening. What are your demands? How much territory do you require?" Admiral Chen smiled slightly. "None. We don't want your territory, Admiral. We want your word, my word, that you'll never threaten Earth again, that you'll respect collective law, that you'll stop forcing other species into service. Give me that and we're done here." Zorthak stared. "That is all? No conquest? No occupation? No tribute? We didn't come here to conquer you. We came here to stop you from conquering others. There's a difference." The treaty was signed on the human flagship. Zorthak expected humiliation. Instead, Admiral Chen treated him with respect. The treaty was fair, reasonable. It protected both sides. At the signing ceremony, Zorthak had to ask, "Why did you not destroy us?" You could have. You had the power. Admiral Chen looked at him for a long moment. Because we've been fighting ourselves for thousands of years, Admiral. We know what happens when you completely destroy your enemy. You create martyrs. You create the seeds of the next war. We prefer making friends. You showed us mercy after we threatened you. Yes, because that's what civilized beings do. You wanted to see how dangerous Deathworlders could be. We showed you. But we also showed you that we choose when to be dangerous. We choose when to kill and when to spare. That choice is what separates us from actual monsters. Zorthak understood then. Humans were not dangerous because they could kill. They were dangerous because they chose mercy when they could have chosen death. It meant they were in complete control. It meant they were fighting with restraint. The galaxy should be more terrified of human mercy than human violence, because mercy meant they were holding back. And if they were this deadly while holding back, what would they be like if they truly unleashed everything they had? Zorthak decided he never wanted to find out. 6 months after the Vraxian War ended, Commander Velthra stood on the observation deck of the Citadel station and watched a human child feed bread to what the locals called space ducks. The creatures were known to bite off fingers. The child giggled as they swarmed around her. Humanity's integration into the Galactic Collective was not going smoothly. Humans kept accidentally doing impossible things. They swam in oceans that dissolved metal. They petted wildlife classified as extremely dangerous. They survived accidents that should have killed them, then apologized for the inconvenience. A human tourist had recently climbed the sacred mountain on Velthar Prime. A mountain no one had climbed in 3,000 years because the air was too thin to breathe. The human reached the summit, took a photograph, and climbed back down. He said it was pretty easy, really. Most species were still terrified of humans. But some were starting to understand. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they chose kindness more often than violence. Then everything changed. The emergency session of the Collective Council was called at midnight. Velthra ran to the chamber, her heart's pounding. High Counselor Arndek looked like he had aged a century. "The Scourge has awakened," he said simply. The chamber went silent. Every species knew the stories. The Scourge was an ancient defense network built by a long-dead civilization. It was designed to eliminate all biological life as a contamination. 1,000 years ago, it had nearly destroyed the Collective. Billions died before it was finally shut down. Where? Someone asked. The Galactic Core. It is spreading. Our projections show it will reach populated systems in 3 months. The military analysis was grim. Fighting the Scourge required boarding ancient stations deep in radiation zones, in crushing gravity, in environments designed to kill biological life. The Collective's best estimate said 90% of any assault force would die, and even then, victory was not guaranteed. "We should evacuate," someone suggested. "Abandon the core systems. Retreat to the outer rim. And when the Scourge finishes the core, it will come for the rim," Counselor Vextra said. "Running only delays the end." Velthra stood. "What about the humans?" Every eye turned to her. "You want to ask Deathworlders to fight an ancient killing machine?" Arndek said. "They are the only ones who might survive the environment, and they have already proven they will fight to protect others." The debate lasted hours. Finally, they agreed to send the request. On Earth, the United Nations convened. The message from the Collective was broadcast to every nation. Humanity could stay out of this. Earth was far enough away that it might escape notice. They could survive, but the galaxy that had welcomed them, feared them, and was slowly accepting them was asking for help. The debate in the UN was passionate. Some delegates argued humanity owed nothing to aliens who had feared them. Others said this was humanity's chance to prove they were not monsters. Some saw cold pragmatism. If the galaxy fell, Earth would be next eventually. Then Commander Velthra appeared on the screen. She looked tired, scared, but determined. When my crew was dying at Kepler Station, every civilized world turned away. They calculated the cost and decided we were not worth it. Then humans came, strangers who had never met us. "You risked everything to save people you did not know." She paused, her voice breaking slightly. "You asked me once what makes you different from the rest of us. This is it. You run toward danger to save others. You choose to protect even when it costs you. Please, be what you are. Be human." The vote was unanimous. Earth would send help. The fleet that assembled was unlike anything the Collective had seen. Military ships, yes, but also civilian vessels retrofitted for war. Scientists, engineers, volunteers who simply wanted to help. Admiral Chen addressed the fleet before they departed. The Scourge was designed to kill biological life. It's in environments that would kill most species instantly. High radiation, crushing gravity, toxic atmosphere. In short, it's like a bad day on Earth. Laughter rippled through the human ships. We're going to board those stations and shut them down manually. It's going to be dangerous. Many of us won't come home. But the galaxy is counting on us. And more importantly, it's the right thing to do. So let's show them what humanity can do. The battle for the galactic core lasted 6 weeks. Human ships made breaches through defenses designed to stop biological assault. They lost vessels. They lost people. But they kept pushing forward. Marines fought through automated defenses that had killed countless civilizations before. They used explosives, cutting tools, and sometimes just brute force to reach control stations. Engineers disabled ancient technology using methods that horrified the collective. One human engineer was recorded hitting a critical system with a wrench while shouting, "Work, damn you!" It worked. Scientists decoded million-year-old systems faster than anyone thought possible. They learned, adapted, and shared information across the fleet in real time. The cost was terrible. Every victory came with casualty reports. Every station shut down meant human lives lost. Captain Elena Reeves led the final assault on the central control node. Her team fought through defenses that had killed everyone else who tried. They reached the core, began the shutdown sequence. Then the station started collapsing. "Everyone out," Elena ordered. Now her team ran. Marcus grabbed a wounded engineer. Tessa carried someone who could not walk. James coordinated the escape. Elena stayed at the controls. The shutdown sequence needed someone to monitor it, to make sure it completed properly. If it failed, everything was for nothing. "Captain, we're not leaving you," Marcus said over the comm. "Yes, you are. That's an order." She smiled even though they could not see her. "Tell Earth I've seen the galaxy. It's beautiful. It's worth protecting." The station collapsed. The Scourge shut down. The galactic core fell silent. 1 year later, the Citadel Memorial stood at the heart of the collective. It was a massive structure, a wall of names carved in every galactic language, every species that had fallen fighting the Scourge. The human section was the longest. Commander Velthra, now the collective's Secretary of Defense, addressed the memorial ceremony. Representatives from every species attended. Many were crying, even the ones who had feared humans a year ago. "The galaxy called them Deathworlders," Velthra said. "We feared them. We were right to fear them, but wrong about why. We thought they were dangerous because they could kill." She looked at the wall of names. "The truth is more terrifying and more beautiful. Humans are dangerous because they care. They evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. Instead of becoming cruel, they became kind. Instead of becoming isolated, they protected each other. They formed tribes, and they decided we are all their tribe now." She touched Elena's name on the wall. "Captain Reeves told me something once. She said humans are not the strongest species, or the smartest or the fastest, but they are the most stubborn. They refuse to give up. They refuse to leave people behind. They refuse to accept that any problem is unsolvable." Velthra turned to face the crowd. "The galaxy is safer now because humans chose to help us. They paid the price in blood and tears. The least we can do is honor their sacrifice by being better, by caring as much as they did, by running toward danger to help others just as they did." On Earth, in a small coastal town, Marcus Webb sat on a beach watching the sunset. He had retired from space service. Too many friends lost. Too many empty chairs at the table. A young Centauri child, Velthra's niece visiting on a student exchange program, sat beside him. Her name was Silri, and she was fascinated by everything human. "Uncle Marcus," she said. She had started calling him that a week ago. "Are humans really the scariest species in the galaxy?" Marcus thought about Elena's last transmission. He thought about all the friends who had not come home. He thought about the galaxy they had saved. He picked up a flat stone and threw it across the water. It skipped 7 times before sinking. "No, kid. We're just the most stubborn. This universe is huge and dangerous and doesn't care about anyone, so we decided to care twice as hard to make up for it." He stood up and offered her his hand. "Come on, I'll teach you to surf. Fair warning, you're going to fall off a lot before you get it." "Isn't that dangerous?" "Very, but that's how you know it's worth doing. Besides, the best things in life are the ones you have to work for. the ones that challenge you. Earth taught us that. They walked toward the waves together. Behind them, the sun set over the ocean, painting the sky in colors that still took Marcus's breath away after all these years. Earth was beautiful, dangerous, deadly, and absolutely beautiful, and humanity had learned to love it anyway. Maybe that was the real lesson. Not that humans were unkillable or unstoppable, but that they chose to love a world that tried to kill them. They chose to protect people who feared them. They chose kindness when violence would have been easier. The galaxy had called them Deathworlders, and they were right. But they missed the most important part. Humans were Deathworlders who chose to be heroes.